So I'll say this, and I know they'll stone me. If your trainer's page on social media has them posting about their abs, that is not your trainer.
Even after a rough night out or you've been really active the day before, you get up, there's no such thing as aches and pains.
Yes.
Now you move funny and you end up in hospital.
So people need to get out of that mindset of that because this food is healthy, then I can eat as much as I want.
You need to find time in your schedule that is going to be allocated for fitness.
Right.
It is not for fitness to find time for you.
Right.
It is for you to find time for fitness.
Yeah. Hi everyone, and welcome back for yet another episode of Season 4 of Circling the Rabbit Hole podcast with me, Dr. Claire Kinuthia. I'm really excited that even as you can see, we're in a new location, and it's such a joy to announce that we have a new partner in terms of location partnering, and that's Ashley Furniture and Fair Deal Furniture. They have believed in us as a brand and have partnered with us to give us a new home for CTRH podcast. So I'm excited to feature quite a bit about what they have in store as well, and looking forward to, playing with our location. For now, I feel like we are home. That aside, today's episode builds a bit more on previous ones that we've had, especially so the first episode of this season, where we were discussing perimenopause and menopause. We've sort of focused a lot on the clinical aspects. We've talked about medication. We've talked about the foods that you should be on, but very lightly. We've talked about hormone support as well and tried to demystify hormone replacement. So today I wanted to switch things around a little bit and go towards the lifestyle side of things. And to do that, I have two wonderful guests with me on set. Thank you very much, first of all, for accepting the invitation to join me. And I'm hoping that we can demystify this so much so that it starts to feel like normal life. Yeah. And especially so to empower lots of women out there who may be going through the transition or those who are anticipating. Because again, we don't just arrive, it's coming, right?
Yeah.
So then, as is the tradition on this podcast, I'll ask you to introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do so that the audience can understand why you're here today. Yeah. I'll start with you, Jemmy.
Hey guys, my name is Jemimah Saru. I am a fitness coach and a nutritionist, and I specialize in fat loss and strength training, particularly for busy corporate women above 30 years of age.
Okay, fantastic. Yes. How about Chisco?
Hello. Thank you for having us. I'm Scholar Mushiri. I'm a strength coach, fitness coach. I help men and women over 30 build muscle, grow strength, and lose fat through mindful eating.
Oh, lovely. Okay, so we're in the best of hands today.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so you both mentioned people over 30.
Yes.
Why that age group? Why are you particularly interested in that age group?
Yes,
Jemmy?
so for 30 plus, so for me, I work with women, and that's the age where you start experiencing bodily changes. And this affects not only your body, but also your mental state. And that translates to even your productivity at work. So having this knowledge, I'm able to empower the women to make the right decisions. Yeah, and just to have their bodies functioning optimally.
Okay.
Yes.
What about you, Scott?
Most of my clients are, of course, over 30. And I get so many complaints about their lives. Things from joint aches to pain in the knees, sleep, not having good quality sleep, low libido. And all this, they're common around that age, as she's saying, because of the bodily changes that happen.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I can barely remember it now, but in my 20s, barely.
Yeah.
Zamani za kale, when I was in my 20s, life was easier. I feel like we used to just get up and go. Even after a rough night out or you've been really active the day before, you get up, there's no such thing as aches and pains.
Yes.
Now you move funny and you end up in hospital. right?
Yes, yes.
And I guess it's part of the aging process, but affects especially so women more as our hormonal changes start to happen.
Definitely.
In terms of both nutrition, I'll start with nutrition, Jemmy. What should we be thinking about once we hit 30? How should we be making sure? Because again, we used to live on fries, used to eat like a piece of bread in the morning and you don't remember the rest of the day and you survive.
Yeah.
Or you are just eating junk food and your body doesn't change. Now I look at a slice of cake and my hips adopt the extra padding.
Yeah.
So once you've hit 30, what should we be thinking about in terms of prioritizing diet-wise?
So the very first thing that women need to know is that once you hit 30, we've got a hormone called estrogen, which both men and women have, but women produce it more. And it's responsible for different functions in your body.
Yeah.
But once you hit 30, the estrogen production declines substantially. And this affects your things such as your bone density. It affects your metabolism, so your metabolism slows down. Your skin elasticity, so you start having dry skin and looking ashy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the time where now you need to really prioritize quality food. It just can't be any kind of food.
Yeah.
Not like in your 20s, you've 2 liters of Coca-Cola and you're okay.
And you're
You know,
okay.
you're not hydrating, you're not eating your vegetables.
yeah.
And everything is okay, you're functioning well. But when you hit 30 and these changes start to happen, then you have to prioritize. At this point, it's not even negotiation.
Yeah.
It has to be a priority. Otherwise, now your health overall is affected. Yes.
Okay.
So now you need to start looking at prioritizing vegetables. You need to prioritize your protein. You need to prioritize quality carbohydrates. Not the refined ones, not the junk.
Right,
Yeah. So
right.
it has to be quality food. So that's what you need to be thinking about in your 30s to set the foundation such that once perimenopause hits, then at least your body is in an optimal state. You won't get hit as much as if you were not prioritizing your nutrition.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what about workouts?
Yeah.
I mean, we used to dance as a workout. You got on the weekend, you're good for the rest of the week. What should I be thinking about once I approach my 30s?
What people need to know is once you clock 30, there's a natural decline of muscle, which is sarcopenia. Which means your training needs to change into strength training or lifting weights. It's the
Right.
same thing, right?
Right.
And when I say lifting weights, I mean
Tuinue
lifting
chuma.
extremely heavy chuma, like lifting weights.
Right.
You're okay with 2 to 3 days a week, and take that cardio down because it's also very easy to get cardio. I mean, if it's your source of joy, if it's your source of movement, keep it. But introduce more strength training to also help you enjoy this cardio longer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then we're eating better. We're
Yes.
focusing on lower sugar, more complex carbohydrates.
Yes.
But what does that mean in terms of meal to meal? Because I'll also have like lots of patients come in and ask me, I'm eating, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I'm gaining weight rather than losing it. Is there a specific portion control? Should I be super strict? Do I have to not eat at all any junk? Do I have a cheat day? Like what would you advise?
So this is something that I hear with so many of my clients as well, and friends and colleague, family. The mentality is that as long as the food is healthy, then you can eat as much as you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what people need to know is every food you consume, every beverage that you take has what we call calories. And calories is basically energy.
Yeah.
So your food is digested, the beverage is digested, and energy is released from that. So now, if you're giving the body more energy than it needs and you're moving less, then your body stores it.
Right.
Because it has no need for it
Yeah.
at that particular moment. So people need to get out of that mindset of that because this food is healthy, then I can eat as much as I want. Yeah.
Right.
Because I sit with my colleagues at work and someone is on a weight loss journey and they have a really huge plate of just rice with very little vegetable. And they tell me, this is okay, right? I'm like, no, it's portion control.
Yeah.
So there are certain particular foods that you really need to think of portioning, particularly the carbohydrates.
Right.
It's not really a priority when you're losing fat. So you need to prioritize more vegetable and protein, because this keeps you full for longer. So
Right.
vegetables have fiber,
Yeah.
and fiber helps to keep you full for longer. And same goes for the protein. It has what we call, it promotes satiety. So satiety is just basically that feeling,
of fullness.
of fullness,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And less of the carbohydrates, the starchy carbohydrates. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we now focus primarily, let's narrow down a bit further. Now, 40s, Akina asks.
Yes.
One of the things that we talk about with perimenopause is we start to realize just how important estrogen is for the female body, and it's a head-to-toe change. Your hair will be thinning, elasticity goes, so your laugh lines and your wrinkles are a bit more prominent. Your skin looks duller. We are having to use so many more products than before.
Yes.
Weight gain. My kafupa. Just anyway, we shall not take it there. So then, even when you're working hard, even when you've been diligent throughout your 30s, there's still a bit of a switch that's happening. Your metabolism seems to be slowing down. And again, lifting becomes tougher.
Yes.
Or if I never did, it's now intimidating because now I'm worried about injury because everything hurts all the time. And like you said, sleep quality also changes. So what should we be prioritizing once we hit our 40s when it comes to now specifically food groups or styling of how I should be eating or what should I be eating? What should my priorities be?
So the priorities remain the same as when you're 30, but now looking at the decline of estrogen, there are particular foods that have a compound called phytoestrogens. So phytoestrogens are compounds in the food that mimic estrogen, which is produced by the body. So we would be looking at are foods such as soy, for example, soybeans and its byproducts. So tofu, tempeh, edamame, and also we're looking at seeds and nuts. This also have the phytoestrogens, particularly flax seeds, and this is locally available in our supermarkets. So if you can include that on the daily in your diet, then this would be beneficial for you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. So you're getting still hormone-like compounds, but from a healthy, natural source.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Supplements, because everybody I know, plus their friends and family,
Everyone is
are
on supplements.
And everything that it seems like we're almost to the point where I'm more proud to walk around with a pill box and say I'm on 16 supplements a day than I am to think about what I'm putting on my plate. What should your advice be for someone who's prioritizing supplementation?
In regards to the estrogen,
Just
just
like
generally,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Generally, in your 40s, what you need to be prioritizing is things such as calcium. So because your bone density is decreasing when you hit 30. Again, estrogen has a role to play in that.
Yeah.
So calcium becomes very, very important because if you're not getting it from your diet, then it's going to be broken down by your muscles have, your bones have calcium.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting it from the diet, then it's going to be broken down. Your bones, are going to be broken down in order for this calcium to be made available. So calcium is one of those supplements that you really need to be thinking about.
Yeah.
And there are different kinds of calcium that you can choose. So we've got calcium citrate, calcium carbonate, and it depends with the bioavailability. So you can get help when you go to a store and you ask for calcium supplements.
Right.
So it's calcium, and calcium does not go without vitamin D. So the vitamin D is what helps in the absorption of the calcium.
Yeah.
So those two, you have to pair those two together. And magnesium would also be one of those supplements that you'd prioritize. Yes.
Okay. Working out. Umesema tuinue chuma.
Yes, please.
But we are 40s.
Yes.
And everything hurts. And maybe, like, let me speak for myself. Earlier, younger, I've always been like more of a runner, more of you're thinking cardio rather than weights. So then how do I transition? Because now everyone, Dr. Claire and everyone involved is saying build muscle.
Yes.
What does that look like for someone who's starting for the first time in her 40s?
Well, building muscle starts with you where you are and with what you have. So let's start with just exercise and movement. You need to find time in your schedule that is going to be allocated for fitness.
Right.
It is not for fitness to find time for you. It
right.
is for you to find time for fitness.
Yeah.
And you need to be very realistic with it, mostly because you don't want to say, I'll be waking up in the morning to go for a run or to go lift weights. And you're having trouble at night sleeping. Either you have a young child or maybe you work late at night, you know. You also don't want to say you'll be working out at night or in the evening and you've had a very long day.
Right.
So you want to look for pockets in your day where you know at least thrice a week, 2 to 3 p.m., I will be dedicating that hour to movement. Right?
Yeah.
And this question for, do I work out in the morning? Do I work out at lunch? Do I work out? You work out when you set that time. Because then you know if it's 2 to 3 p.m., then I know at least Monday, Wednesday, Friday, nothing else is coming between me and my fitness. So that's number one for scheduling.
Yeah.
Number two, you start where you are. Again, I'm saying realistic because we need to catch ourselves doing right. We need to set ourselves up for wins, not the other way around, right? So you work on the 8th floor. So you say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll be taking 2 flights of stairs, just 2. And then on the 2nd floor, I take the elevator up to till 8, right?
Yeah.
That is more doable than me saying for this entire month, I will be taking 1 to 8 every day in the office. Now you're getting to the office, you're
sweating,
panting, you're
look like
sweating. You're not even in
arrived.
you're not even in the right mental space because that's too much.
Yeah.
So break things down to achievable and doable things. Because then if you can do the 2 flights of stairs and you do it Monday, Wednesday, by Friday you want to do it because you already did it. It's doable. It seems possible, right?
Yeah.
So catch yourself doing right. And then towards the end of that week, you're like, okay, I'm going to try another flight of stairs. As opposed to saying, I will join a gym in January and I will pay 6 months. We all know you will not.
That you will pay and attend for 2 weeks and then that's it.
Yes, so we need small steps because those small steps and achievable steps, because you're doing them, you're creating the habit. Once the habit is there, there's a routine. And once a routine is there, then there's consistency and then there's discipline. But there's no discipline and consistency if there's no some sort of routine.
You actually have to prioritize creating a routine around
exactly.
working out.
Yes, because a routine makes things easy to do, easy to perform. Now, when it comes to the actual workouts, start with movement or those flights of stairs. Then move to the next thing. Start with body exercises. Break it down to just 3. Do something for your lower body. Sorry, break it down into 4. Do something for your lower body.
Right.
That could be bodyweight squats or it could be walking lunges. You know those memes for your trainer gives you walking lunges and then you're walking out of the gym.
Yes. Never to be seen again.
Those are the lunges, right? So something, it can also be glute bridges or hip thrusts, something for the lower body. Remember, you're just starting out. You don't want to overcomplicate things. Then for upper body, you're looking for something, for movement that mimics you pulling something towards you, right? That will make sure you're working your back, you're working your biceps. And also you want to do an exercise that looks like you pushing something away from you, because that's a press. One is a pull, the other one is a press. And you want to do all of them in one session. You don't want to break down exercising into bodybuilding. Bodybuilders train like bodybuilders because, first of all, they have the time. They have the 6 days a week to work out. So they can do back and bicep, then legs and triceps, then chest and calves. And then that's now on the 4th day, they go back to that back again and biceps. They have the time, they have the resources, they have the supplements, right? And they have the capacity to even eat, to fuel for that session and to recover from that session. Most people don't have, first of all, who has 6 days a week to work out? Even I, as a trainer, don't work out 6 days a week. So let's not worry about the split. They're called split or bro programs. You are looking to do full body, legs, and 2 things for upper body, pushing away from you and pulling away from you, pulling towards you, and then you want to have something for your core.
Okay.
And for your core, don't complicate it. Those planks that you had 1958, they will still work. That's the beauty with fitness. You know those planks where we say the trainer counts 1
times 10,055.
and
They
then
forget.
2. Yes.
Then they come to 2.
Yes. And then the client counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100. Those planks,
ones, right.
they will work.
Okay.
Play around with them. You can be on your elbows. You can be high plank when you're on your palms. Do the side plank to work your obliques. And even do the reverse plank where the chest and everything is facing up. Just plank.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes, don't complicate things.
Yeah.
You want to entirely work your core. So that's where you start.
Okay.
Now, because you're doing things that are doable, like a body weight squat, at whatever weight, you can do a squat at whatever weight. If you cannot go all the way down, start with the shallow depth. There's nothing wrong with a shallow depth. As long as the form is right and the technique, the shallow depth works until you get strong enough to go a little bit deeper and you're getting to parallel where your hips are parallel to your knees, and then you are strong enough to bring yourself up.
Right.
Iyo ikikataa, just take a stool. Sit and stand. Sit on a stool and stand up
Okay.
5 times.
Yeah.
Just 5.
Just keep building, basically.
Just keep building.
Yeah.
And then once there's a routine, there's a habit, your body will tell you. You will start feeling, yeah, squeezy, I can do 10. And then now that's where you go and you get now a dumbbell and equipment. If not that, then you go and sign up to a gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
So start somewhere.
Start.
We stop making
The thing
excuses.
is, just start.
Just start.
Just start,
I
yeah.
like that advice because I think we tend to, like you've said, we overthink it. I start thinking because everything I see is, I need today's leg day.
Yes. Yeah.
I need tomorrow is back day. So
Yes.
I think also maybe an important thing to mention is which kind of a trainer should I be looking for? Because you're talking about things that are technicalities that I probably shouldn't really be thinking too hard about.
Yes.
And especially as a beginner. So what should I be looking for when I'm assessing for my trainer?
Okay, so I'll say this, and I know they'll stone me. If your trainer's page on social media has them posting about their abs, that is not your trainer.
Yo.
Can we just start from there?
You want us to close down?
Yeah. Nimeanza mapema. That is not your trainer.
Okay.
Because you're looking for a trainer who will adjust with you. They will adjust with your lifestyle.
Okay.
Sometimes our clients come to the gym and they are mentally not there.
Yeah.
That is not the day to tell you to deadlift 180.
Yeah.
That is not that day.
Yeah.
That is the day for, thank you for coming. Let's start with, sometimes we even go for coffee during their session. That's all they had.
Yeah.
They came. That's fantastic. So
Yeah.
if it's not coffee, we do some mobility stretches, some dynamic stretches. We walk on the treadmill, or we can do Stairmaster 5 minutes. So your trainer needs to be able to literally walk with you. And you can see it on their page. You can see on a trainer's page a trainer that is walking the journey with the client versus a trainer that is just go hard or go home. We were actually having that conversation. And the thing about fitness is it has always been seen as a military. Go
Boot
hard.
camp. Yeah. We know
or
that's what
go
we know
home.
trainers for.
Imagine, Doc, even I want to go home when you give me those choices. And I'm a trainer.
Imagine.
If you tell me go
that's
hard or I'm going home.
You're going home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find me in
Yeah.
bed. So it's not go hard or go home.
Right.
True.
It's where are you?
Yeah.
Let's start there. Let's progress very slowly with 1 rep at a time. Progression can even be better form.
True.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, true.
Progression can even be I made it to the gym this month 16 times. So it's as long as you're adding on to what
Where
you
you
are
started,
and
yeah.
or rather where you started,
Yeah.
that is progression.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I really like that advice. That really simplifies. Anything else you would add? Because you are a trainer as well. Anything
Yes,
else you'd
I am a
want to add?
trainer.
Yeah.
So she's talked about the progression, but I think people should also know that it's okay when you regress. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't feel like, oh my God, now I've failed. Now
Yeah.
throw in the towel and
Yeah.
it's over. No,
Yeah.
because that was a mistake that I made myself for so many years. You know, I'd feel guilty, like, oh my God, I'm not living up to my expectations. And you put so much pressure on yourself that you have to deliver. It's okay to regress.
Yeah.
You'll still come back and go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
pick
that's a
yourself
very
up.
important message to share,
Yeah.
because again, since we're focusing on perimenopause specifically, there are going to be bad days. There are days where the hot flash takes over and that's your day. That's it. There are days
sure.
where the brain you even forgot there was a gym session that day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean quit and go home. Keep coming back.
Our mentor always tells us it's okay to have that, to regress. But she says, don't let 4 days go by without you doing the thing that you know you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Because then that 4 days becomes 8 days, it becomes 16 years.
that's it,
So it's
yeah.
okay. Day 1, day 2. But on the 4th day, you should be able to force yourself.
Yeah. Pick
Sometimes you
yourself
have to,
up.
because in your 40s, I'm not 40. I see it with my client.
Now
Yet.
shout. I mean,
I
sawa
see-
basi.
I see it with my clients.
Yeah.
Kila kitu inauma. Everything is just inflamed.
Yeah.
Yes. So we pause. Sometimes we pause training, but we don't do more than 4 days.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's okay to regress. But on the 4th day, you even with nutrition, if you've been eating right and then pungulu pangala, everything just decided.
Aka chips like this.
Yes. So on the 4th day, pick yourself up.
Right.
And force yourself. That's why it needs to be doable. Find something that is doable on the 4th day. If it's for nutrition, it could be something as simple as eating a vegetable or eating a fruit or drinking water. If it's for fitness, it could be something as I'll go for a walk.
Yeah.
Or today I'll park a block away from where I live, and then I'll walk that small distance to the house. So just find something to bring you back to the routine, because remember, routine is what we are looking for.
Yes. Okay. So I basically make fitness part of my lifestyle.
Yes,
make,
definitely.
Eating healthy a part of my normal routine. I don't even have to think twice about it. It's not that I'm sitting thinking, oh God, sasa leo tunapika nini. Like prepare and plan ahead of time. I think that's the best lesson from that part of this conversation. Back to specifics of symptoms.
Yes.
We've talked about inflammation.
Yes.
We also know bone density starts to get compromised. We lose muscle just randomly. Just minding my business, my muscle. As we sit here, my muscle is just
leaving your body.
exiting my body. How do I maintain, as part of my lifestyle, prioritizing changes that are inevitable and finding a way to slow those changes down? So in terms of building muscle, yes, I'm lifting weights. Yes, I'm prioritizing my calcium and vitamin D for my bone health. But then my posture, for example, when you're talking about improving form, things like that. So are there small little points I should be paying attention to on a day-to-day basis outside of just eating healthy and being in the gym?
For posture, I would say watch out how you stand. We stand very funnily.
As a people,
as
actually.
a people, even sometimes I catch myself, you trainer, what is that? You're sitting on one hip.
Yeah.
So this one hand is akimbo, the other one is not akimbo. So it was two that were akimbo. You know, even driving, we drive very funny. It's like swag. You're sitting on one side, so we need to watch out how we are standing, sitting. Even I'm sitting on one side. So once in a while, catch yourself, sort of bring yourself back to a neutral position, because also posture contributes to a lot of the problems we are having. And now with loss of muscle mass, you don't stand a chance.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tips for exercising and lifting weights: if you sit a lot in the office, have a variation of face pulls. Face pulls is an exercise where you're pulling something towards your face, literally.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You want to be able to do that to strengthen your back muscles, your upper back muscles, because there's a lot of slouching when we sit. You want to do exercises that support core strength. Because, again, when you're losing muscle, you're also losing your balance, you're losing your posture, you're losing your ability to stay straight and perform in a straight manner, if that makes sense. So do a lot of exercises for your core, the planks that I talked about. If you're in the gym, play around with all variations of carries. A farmer's carry where you have 2 kettlebells or dumbbells on the side of your body and you're just walking. And you should be aiming to lift half your body weight.
I was going to ask that next. How much is enough or too much for when you're lifting weights?
I tell my clients, regardless of your weight, you should be able to do 1 pull-up, 1 push-up, because that means that's you pulling your entire body up. If it's a push-up, being to push away from the ground. And you should be able to squat
I'm visualizing myself attempting a pull-up.
Oh,
So that's what's happened. Like, ooh.
Pull-up and push-ups are just, we fight a lot.
Yeah,
We fight a lot. And you should be able to squat at least half your body weight, working your way towards your body weight.
Right.
So if I'm 60, I should be able to squat at least 30 kilos, and I should be working my way to 60 kilos.
Right, okay.
If it's deadlift, it should be 2 times.
Oh.
2 times. If I'm 60, I should, my goal, it's not the goal
course,
now.
yeah.
The goal should be, I should be able to deadlift 120, double your weight, right?
Okay.
These are metrics that we use in fitness to know how fit you are. It's not about losing weight. It's not about losing fat, because then we just look at the big guys. We look at the guys who are 130. We don't look at someone who is 49 kgs. They cannot squat 20 kgs.
Yeah.
You need to be strong. I tell my clients, you need to be strong for your body. So if you're 49 and you cannot squat 20 kgs, you need to do something.
Right.
Something that has nothing to do with your weight.
Yeah.
So you need to lift more to be strong enough to live in your 49 kg body. If
Right.
you're 100, if you're 130, you need to be able to squat at least 65, 70 kgs
Right.
of squats.
Okay.
If you can't, then you need to be strong
To prioritize.
that. So whatever you'll do there, it could be you reduce your weight, or it could be you actually get strong enough to be able to live in that body.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic advice.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to switch to a very, you had mentioned lightly, a bit more sensitive side of perimenopause and menopause. And this comes with the changes in libido. We have lots of vaginal dryness, and that, of course, it affects sex life. So painful sex or just loss of interest and things like that. My diet and nutrition, can that help me in any way? It's a very key question that a lot of patients will come in and ask, "Ni dawa gani?" And sometimes it's just lifestyle.
Yeah. It's still the same.
As healthy as
still the
possible.
same answer.
Yeah.
Just prioritize. We make it sound simple, but it is that simple.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that you can do for your body before you introduce other things. Because, for example, even with supplements, a supplement is just that. It's an addition to whatever you're already having. Yeah. So those phytoestrogens will come in handy. So your soybeans will be your friend.
Yeah.
So those are the things that you need to be prioritizing. The flaxseed, things that you can actually include in your diet on a daily basis.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hydration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take-
I like that.
take
Just
the water.
simplify, because we're so used to complex solutions.
Yeah,
Just
it doesn't
simplify
have to be
things.
complicated.
Yeah.
Take the water, hydrate. If you don't like plain water, then there are several ways to make it fancy. You can do herbal teas, play around with herbal teas. And I'm a huge advocate of teas, actually. I'm not a coffee person, sorry, coffee lovers.
Tunakuona wewe.
Yeah,
Tunakuona.
We've seen you.
I am a tea lover through and through.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I believe God created these plants to help us.
Yeah.
There's so many beneficial compounds in the teas, anti-inflammatories, antioxidants, which help your body. They strengthen your immunity. They fight off the inflammation. So if you're fighting off all this, at least now your body is even relaxed. You're able to produce some of these things that you're losing.
Yeah.
Because it's in a safe space.
Right.
It feels safe. But if you're not giving it, then
Right.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
So those are the things that you really need to be prioritizing.
Yeah.
At the foundation, your vegetables. And not, when I say vegetables, I don't just mean the leafy greens. Because some people think when I say leafy vegetables, I just mean sukuma wiki or cabbage or carrots, cucumbers. There's so many vegetables out there. You can just keep switching them up.
Right. Yeah.
So if today you're having leafy greens, tomorrow have the roots,
Yeah.
your carrots, your beetroots, and have them in vegetables in their different colors have different compounds. So the more variety you have in your diet, the more beneficial compounds you're getting in, as opposed to just having one color of vegetables.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. To specific now, the working outside. We have, again, being a gynecologist, I take care of women, and this transition, perimenopause and menopause worsens pelvic floor issues that were already brought to the front with childbearing. Having a baby, being pregnant and having babies is quite a challenging thing for a female body. And as much as there's a lot of repair that happens after, if you're not careful, you're going to lose a lot of laxity with the pelvic floor. And the pelvic floor is basically, think of the inside of your hips as a basin. So the muscles that hold everything up. And some of the issues we see with perimenopause because of those changes is a drop in the uterus. And you actually start to have pain because you're feeling like something heavy is hanging internally. And doctors, which is our training, we teach you how to do your Kegels. Do you know how to do your Kegels? Are you doing your Kegels as we speak? Huh? You know, you can be doing them when I'm talking to you.
Yes.
And yes, it helps, but only to a certain degree. So how can I at all, beyond, let me ask it as a question. Can I at all improve my pelvic floor strength in the gym?
Yes.
Are there workouts or strengthening exercises that can specifically target that area outside of Kegels?
Yes. Kegels is a fantastic place to start.
Yeah.
But remember, you have started. At some point, you will need to do
boost,
more.
yeah.
To do more, to boost so that you're not back to where you are. And again, as she's saying, it sounds simple because it is simple.
Right.
Stick to the basics. Work your squats, do your hip thrusts, do your deadlifts. Actually, one of my clients asked me, when I do deadlifts, am I doing Kegels or should I do Kegels on the side? Then we do deadlifts. And I was like, that's a very good observation, actually, because it's really good to ask these questions.
Yeah.
And I told her, you can do your Kegels in your deadlift. As a matter of fact, that movement, it mimics the Kegels and more, some of the movements of Kegels exercises.
Yeah.
It mimics that. The hinge movement where you're moving your butt or your hip away from you and bringing it back to you, which is between your shoulders and your feet. Anything that moves them away and brings them back, whether you're lying down or whether you're standing straight. If you're lying down, that will be your hip thrust, your glute bridges, anything where the hip is up. If you're standing up, that looks like a deadlift. That looks like a good morning. The exercise where you're placing load on the back and you're standing straight and you're bending over and coming back up. So all those exercises have your Kegels in there. And it's even better because you're performing under a load.
Right.
Which means you're stressing your body and you're tearing down the part of the muscle, which means during repair, that's when you become stronger. So have your squats, have your lunges, have your deadlifts, have your hip bridges, have your good mornings. What else have I missed? Those are the main.
Okay.
And you never need to change them. All you need to do is you can variate them. You can do, if it's a deadlift, you can do one for a barbell. You can do for dumbbells. You can do for a plate. You can do for kettlebells. But it's the same movement. That's the beauty with fitness.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. It's those things and you just keep playing around with them.
Right.
You also want to be strengthening your core because your pelvic is attached to your core.
Yeah.
Again, I'm repeating. You need exercises that strengthen your entire core in one move. A sit-up is not bad. Crunches are not bad. But I call them bodybuilder exercises because I'm just working a part of my core, which is the front, maybe because I need to show off, which is also good if that's what you're looking for.
That's what you're looking for.
But if you're looking for entire core strength, you want to do your planks and you want to do your farmer's carry and things like wood chops. You want to do hanging knee raises, things that target the core in one move all together.
Right.
And I would add, it's in the deadlift, but I would add strengthen your glute muscles because your glutes support your pelvic. And also glutes are largest muscle group in your body. So actually on your hip thrust, you should be able to hip thrust 2 times your body weight.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, it is in
Challenge accepted.
It is the largest muscle group. So
true.
it should be moving the most weight.
Yeah.
So stick to those basics. And then, of course, don't neglect your upper body. As I said, you want to be doing movements that have you pushing away and pulling to you, which is your presses and your pull exercises. Anything back, chest, shoulders, and then your arms.
Okay.
Yes. And I think I would say these are the exercises we call compound lifts.
Okay.
Because it is one exercise that uses more than one muscle group.
Right.
And if your goal is to get strong, it's sort of like a shortcut, right?
Yeah.
Because a squat has you using so many muscle groups in one in one exercise, which will have you benefiting in two ways. One, because I'm using so many muscle groups, I need energy to move this, to even do one single rep, right? Where is that energy going to come from? Calories. She said energy is calories. Calories are energy, right? Which means it helps with fat loss. Right? Just strength training in itself. And then the other benefit will be, because I'm recruiting so many muscle groups, I'll get stronger faster.
Right.
Yes, because I'm able to push more.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic advice. As always on this podcast, we end up learning so much and wanting to keep talking forever. But now it is my job to rein it in. It in, because I think we'll probably explore this a bit more later on and build up on this initial conversation. What's the takeaway? One key thing, or maybe a final messaging you'd want for the audience to take away from this episode, so that we stop feeling so intimidated at the idea of eating healthy and working out? Because we have so many industries that crop up and shortcuts and, messaging around quick fixes, because we are so intimidated by the realities of what being healthy should look like. So what key takeaways, maybe I'll start with Jemmy, you'd like our audience today specifically to take away from this episode?
Take it a day at a time. I feel like when you start your fitness journey or your wellness journey, you're in such a hurry to get to the end that you forget to enjoy the process in between. This process from point A to B, the middle ground is where your development even as a person happens.
Right, yeah.
Because it's not just about eating foods and movements. It's you're investing in your health, right?
Yeah.
You're investing in your health, not just your physical health. It's your physical health, it's your mental health, your emotional health, spiritual health.
Yeah.
Everything around it changes. So just take it a day at a time. Don't be in a hurry.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you feel too much pressure, it's okay to rest. Rest is actually very important.
It's important, yeah.
And I think that is something that we do not preach enough. Rest. If your body tells you to rest, listen to it and just rest. When you rest, actually, you come back stronger.
Yeah.
and
Lots of
you're
repair is able
push.
to happen.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's the takeaway home.
Okay. Let's go.
Before the takeaway, I feel like I didn't address the low libido and the sex and the pain during
right.
sex. And when you're working your leg muscles, naturally you're giving blood flow to the pelvic area.
Yeah.
So which means if it's things like vaginal dryness, it's going to help with that.
Yeah.
And then also, because you're working out, as she's saying, mentally and physically, you're doing something about your body and how it looks. It helps with confidence. And a confident person will be able to enjoy some of these benefits of being together, with someone else.
Right.
Yes.
And I think also it's important for us to mention, you've used a lot of names for different workouts, and I didn't ask you to expound because we have a plan that in case you don't follow any of us on socials, please, everything will be on the screen.
Yes.
That's the magic of TV. And also in the description bar, follow our pages, because we will put out a few videos just demonstrating some of the workouts that you can be doing for your pelvic floor especially. So we'll put Score in different variations of positions she wants us to get in, and then we follow those instructions.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have that come out on social media. So follow us. Again, that will be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever it is that you like to follow the podcast. Yeah.
Amazing.
For my takeaway, break things down into what seems doable, because then the possibility of you doing them and the likelihood is up.
Yeah.
Again, so don't take things into complex things. Break them down. Very simple, very doable. Catch yourself doing right.
I like that phrase. I like
Always
that phrase.
catch yourself doing right. Like, yes, I did it. I am the one who went into the gym and asked for the rates. I did not sign up, but I asked for
it's
the
the
rates.
first step.
That's good. So catch yourself always doing right.
Yeah.
So that it gives you the confidence to know that you can do it. And then once you've done it, there's a routine. Remember, we are all these big words called discipline and consistency. They're not happening if there's no routine.
Right.
Now, once you're in the routine, something else will come up. It's called boredom.
So true.
Yes. I've had people ask me, now I've been training for 2 years. So, yeah, you keep training. Add another 2 years.
Add another 2.
And another one, and another one.
Yeah.
So two things, boredom is a part of life, even in work, even for you. You do the same
Everything's the same on repeat
day in,
every
day out.
day. Yeah.
Boredom is a sign that there's consistency and there's a routine, which means there's a plan.
Yes.
So embrace the boredom. However, because of consistently showing up, you're pouring from your cup.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now you need to keep the boredom, keep the routine, keep what is working. If it's working, don't change it. Keep it. Now just add to spices here and there. Like the way you spice water with lemon, or you spice water through drinking sparkling water. Now spice your fitness life.
Yeah.
These run clubs, say you'll be doing one Karan every month.
Yeah.
People are hiking. Say I will hike 2 times this year. Pick up a sport. Paddle is very common nowadays.
Yeah.
Do golfing, do tennis, go biking. So you're just adding on to you're bringing this to spices, but you're still
maintain
keeping
your
your
foundation.
routine and your fitness, because if you take out that, these two once things, they will not be able to help you see your goals.
You're right. Yeah.
So keep the boredom, keep the things that work. Most things that work in life are very boring.
True.
So keep the boredom,
Yeah.
keep the things that are working, and then add in the spice. And I'll finish by saying, adults, and especially people who are in their 40s and above, adults need to play. People are not playing enough. We're not just putting ourselves in situations of nothingness, but just fun.
Just have
You know,
fun.
when you just laugh,
Yeah.
and it's hurting. Like it's funny.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
or when you go and you play the games we used to play, kati, rounders. What is kati in English? Kati.
Cut.
You know,
We'll get creative with it.
okay. So we need adults.
Yeah.
We leave play to children, but we need it as adults.
Yeah.
Why? So that we can stop looking for the fun things in the things that are supposed to be mundane. Yes. So
Okay.
play, laugh,
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
Plan for play. Say every last Saturday I'll be going to play.
Right.
Our mentor says anything that is not planned is something that is begging to not be done.
You came here with the gems. The gems have been dropped. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for having
as we
us.
now finish up on the episode, I just want to say thank you once again. You've really simplified. I like that you made it less intimidating. That's the best way to approach it. That you can do this one day at a time. You can break this down into manageable tasks, and you can actually be consistent with it over time. Just make it part of your routine. And then that's the best messaging I can say. Embrace the boredom. It's not supposed to be fun 24/7,
yes.
but find ways to inject fun into the process. So thank you, Jemmy. Thank you, Sko, for joining me. If I summon again, sim takuja.
Absolutely.
Tutakuja hata na
It was a
equipment.
pleasure.
Come with the equipment.
Actually, I'll come and make you stretch.
Yes,
Yeah.
The
Or maybe make me
dumbbells,
stretch.
barbells.
I hate stretching.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you very much for joining me. Thank you guys for sticking with us to the end of the episode. I'm sure we've learned a lot. I'm sure there's also going to be lots of questions. So feel free to send, write in the comments, because when you see some of the little clips we'll put up on social media, you can also put it in the comments on YouTube or on whichever platform that you listen to the podcast on. Feel free to send an email. Feel free to reach out in the DMs so that we can build up, if in case there's lots more gaps on lots of areas that specifically you want to get answers from, I get an excuse to invite them back on the episode. So thank you once again for joining us. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.